Welcome to ZKast, everyone. I'm Zeus Kerravala from ZK Research, and I'm here just outside Wrigley Field with Steve Inman, VP of IT for the Chicago Cubs, the 2016 World Series champs, and returning ZKast regular Joe Rittenhouse from CT Pros, CEO of the company. And so we're going to talk about a partnership with RingCentral and some of the emerging AI things. Before we get going, I know, Steve, this is your first time on with me, so just a quick intro on yourself and your role with the Cubs.
Yeah, I run all technology here with the Cubs across infrastructure, service desk, software development, data warehousing, and broadcast engineering. I've been here for 13 seasons now, so came up through the software development side and now running all of technology here in all of our other campuses around the country.
Yeah, well, clearly big role for this team, huh? It's one of the marquee teams in all sports. And Joe, with CT Pros, what do you do?
We're the implementation partner, so we're the strategic partner that got selected with Steve and the Cubs for RingCentral, and so we're going to work with Steve and his team on the implementation of Wrigley Field and the rollout of everything and the surrounding stuff that they support.
So you make all the stuff work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Steve, the Cubs are, it's fair to say, one of the most iconic brands, certainly one of the oldest brands in all of sports. And I just want to, get your take. You said you've been here 13 years. Within that period of time, how have you seen the whole concept of fan experience and the role of technology changed in that time period?
Yeah, I mean, when I started, we had about 65 front office employees, and we've exponentially grown that. We've taken on more and more things from the network, from what fans are expecting. I mean, when I started, devices weren't really the primary way that all this was being communicated. So not only have we had to shift when we renovated Wrigley and put in just a whole new infrastructure to be able to handle how the fan is interacted with the game, but just being able to handle every new request and kind of prepare for the future along the way.
Yeah, people watch the games instead of watching their phone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm curious that when you think of the concept of fan experience or customer experience, if you want to use it more broadly, I know from talking to a lot of your peers, a lot of the focus has historically been in stadium, for instance in Wrigley, but that's extended now to really be 24/7 by 365, and just expand on that a little.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're doing everything from fitness classes out in Gallagher Way here during the week to family-friendly movies and things that people can do around the community. We have expanded a sports book that is open year-round. We have Winterland. We have had hockey games here in the winter. It used to be Cubs games, and then the neighborhood kind of died down, and now we have so much going on. We have Northwestern football coming up. We just have constant stuff that we're now expanding out into our parking lots and other areas on a regular basis.
You also had golf here too a couple
Absolutely.
times, right? So that's it's a funny venue for golf, but it's actually kind of fun. And so how many events do you do here a year now?
Oh geez, I mean, you take the roughly 81 home games, this year 79 because we played over in Japan to start the season, and then you look at kind of the 365 minus the 81, you kind of throw in anywhere from 5 to 8 concerts that we'll have. Then you have non-game events. You have these other one-offs like Northwestern football, golf like you talked about, corporate events that are coming in and taking over what's going on the field for a day. We're constantly getting creative to get as close to that 365-day experience.
So it's an
possible.
everyday thing now. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I know you're in the process of migrating away from your legacy on-prem communication system to RingCentral. And what kind of limitations were you seeing with that on-prem system?
Yeah, I mean, we're a bit of a legacy one that was all here. The infrastructure lived within Wrigley. It allowed you to do stuff with people who were on site, but had so many hurdles with VPNs and all these other things, especially during like a COVID time or where people were remote more than they were in the past. And I think with RingCentral, it's like super exciting that not only do you get kind of a, phones and, using phones can be looked at as sometimes legacy, but they've brought this omnichannel integration with CRMs and Teams and able to operate from your phone and not having to be in the offices and do some kind of a hard connection combined with all these other things that we're going to work with Joe and CT Pros to really figure out all these other capabilities that we can take advantage of.
Yeah, Joe, and I know at CT Pros, you've probably done more of these legacy migrations than any other company around that I've talked to. And now, for a long time, these on-prem systems were old, reliable, right? They never went down, people loved them. And when you heard Steve talk about his limitations, what are some of the things your customers are telling you? Are they?
Well, I think like the big thing is like the nice part is the future state is we don't have to worry about upgrades anymore. Those were always hairy, and security concerns and just efficiencies. And so I think the biggest thing and the biggest benefit of moving from that prem is just the technology's advanced so much. And so there's a bunch of intricate things that these cloud providers can do, specifically RingCentral, that just the prem providers, it is legacy for a reason.
Yeah.
And so there's just a lot of inherent just stumbling blocks that you go through, and then when you have an event or a space like this or a business, which this is an enterprise client that's really unique, that has just a lot of different demands and a lot of just different technology needs. So moving to the cloud just makes it more appetizing for the organization.
Yeah, it seems for a long time when I talk to customers, they looked at moving to the cloud as risky, but now it's almost changed where it's risky to not move.
The alternative
is riskier,
yeah.
Now, so let's talk about some of those things, Steve. Like I know, in part of the deal, you're going to be deploying Ring EX and CX. When you think of their contact center, the Ring CX product, what excites you most about that? What are some of the features?
I think historically we've been able to set up call trees and connections between specific groups, but it took a lot of what I call hard coding or hard wiring of those workflows. And if anything kind of went out of that routine or that path, it wouldn't really work. And I think from what we've seen so far with these capabilities within RingCentral is you can create these smarter, more dynamic workflows. So not only like just transferring calls like we've been in, but being able to transfer to SMS or other kind of communication channels that not only internal salespeople or internal fan services people are able to get to quicker, but working with that fan base or that customer that much faster and from a channel that they want to be communicating with you on.
Yeah, and what about some of the AI features like automated call summaries, the ability to automatically update notes, things like that for the agent? You see those being useful?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think
because nobody does those very well.
You get into a lot of that stuff, and it's, you know, we kind of have been a human in the loop AI bringer on, like, let's see how it can help us to be more efficient. And I think where we can get these efficiencies is going to be where we go after first. And then getting into kind of where can we go beyond is going to be really fascinating. And RingCentral does seem to be on the bleeding edge of that, especially when we've looked at all these other providers out there. No one's really talking about that in the other worlds, and they really were front and center and focused on it, and it, you know, gets us really excited.
Yeah, and Joe, you've deployed a lot of Ring CX and Ring Sense. What have you seen as the low-hanging fruit there? Like where are customers really gravitating?
Yeah, I think it's a single pane of glass. So for end users and efficiencies, it makes things a lot smoother. But some of the stuff that Steve was talking about is just the AI use cases. It's like there's some organic stuff that you can just do internally that is just low-hanging fruit where you can just approve those efficiencies and they're native to the platform. And just like Steve said, is like once we start rolling these out and get these implemented, I'm really excited to see what they can do with agentic and some of the other fan experience. It's an interesting space right now, and Steve's team's well equipped to take advantage of it.
And this single pane of glass, the bringing UCCC together, is something as an industry we've talked about for a long time. And I think we've had a hard time defining what the value is on that. Obviously, there's purchase order benefits and things.
Reducing complexity, right? And just making things easier for your end users and just adding efficiencies. Like it's an often talked about application, but just understanding like less clicks, less change, and just communicating with that fan base faster or communicating internally faster.
Yeah. And I know you haven't deployed it yet, Steve, but I know a big part of Ring CX and Ring Sense is the agentic capabilities. And have you given some thought as to how you might use those, where you actually have AI complete tasks and maybe take over communications with the customer versus a human?
Yeah, I think when you look at some things that we've done so far, it's what you are telling it to do or what you are asking it to do. then the first piece that we've done is there could be keywords that are picking up, like maybe this is actually a bigger issue discussion that's happening. I think when you get to the agentic side, it's going to be picking up recurring patterns. It's going to be seeing the volumes of what maybe in the middle of a season or at the end of the season is happening. And I think it's going to be really good at helping us to understand the types of calls that are coming in rather than you having to dig through it. It's going to be raising this and kind of helping you to better structure the team, who the experts need to be that are getting pulled in. And the more that we can get people connected to whatever it is as an end game without a person in play, that's a win for everyone.
Yeah. And Joe, as you talk to customers of agentic, are they excited about it? I know there's a lot of chatter about replacing jobs, but it just seems the contact center industry itself can never hire enough people.
Yeah, and high
right?
turnover.
Yeah. And so what have customers told you about agentic?
Well, I think the key thing is like the same approach that Steve's talking about is that's the pragmatic approach, is figure out where you can solve internally, get used to the use cases. And then the key thing is just the organizations have to have a comprehension of their own data and understand like where do we do integrations, what are we trying to achieve.
That's a big problem.
It's not what
right?
we say or what we can do or what the vendors are selling. The key thing is just to understand where's the customer in their journey and then slowly, as Steve said it, just slowly adapting internal use cases and then expanding. But as you start to get those data sets and you have those integrations, like that's the path to success.
Yeah, and let's pivot a little bit to RingEX. That's on the employee side, although they're very closely tied together. How are you thinking about that from an employee perspective, being able to use it to drive down costs, but also help people be more productive as they communicate with each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think our CRM, I think our internal security pathways, being able to communicate better for like these emergency situations that pop up. We are monitoring the Wrigley campus and surrounding area 365 days a year, 24/7. So we just have to be efficient. We don't always have full staff for a game like it's going on right now. We want to continue to, kind of like I said, have this human in the loop model that is really operating almost like it's full staffed. And if there is a problem, if there's a customer issue, if someone wants to buy something, you don't necessarily have to be fully staffed all the time, and you can still kind of have that same customer experience, that same passing along internally, that same internal communication going on that you would if it was a day game like there is right now.
Yeah, and Joe, I'm going to wrap up with you. When it comes to the deployment of this cloud-based communication system, they're not cookie cutter.
No,
right?
Especially this.
Yeah, and just in your experiences, what are some of the recommendations to the audience, some gotchas, some things they should think about as they go through this migration? Because there's a lot of potential here, but there are a lot of places along the way where a firm like yours does provide a lot of value.
I think where we're successful, and we've been successful in the past, is just getting to know the business, right? And being a true partner. And there's something to be said of like you're a partner, and you can do it in a sponsorship or something along those lines. But I think the key to success is understanding like what are you driving as an organization? What are you driving as a leader in the organization, and how are we going to do it? Like, what are you comfortable with? What do you assess as risk? And just understanding the business philosophy of how do you start small and grow it from there. There's a lot you can do, and it's almost overwhelming. Start small and grow.
Start small and grow. Well, that's good advice then.
Yeah.
So anything else you guys want to add?
No, thanks for coming.
No, thank you.
We're excited for the new RingCentral partnership, and with CT Pros, who we've worked with for many years. I think it's going to be a great combination of excellent companies that will be able to kind of hit all the things that you brought up.
Yeah, hit a home run, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
no,
we're honored to be part of this.
Well, and clearly the communications industry is changing fast, and I think if there was one reason why, even though these legacy systems are all reliable, that you need to move off, is you just can't keep up with the pace of innovation with an on-prem system anymore.
Yeah.
So cloud's the only way to go. So on behalf of Steve Inman from the Cubs, Joe Rittenhouse from CT Pros, I'm Zeus Kerravala from ZK Research, and thanks for watching. Give us a like and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time on the next episode of ZKast.